Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Community Fort Delves. We're going to spelunk our way through the fortress of Boltportals, submitted by Chao. Now you're watching the edited version of this video, which admittedly is still quite long due to lacking an established format, but you can catch my recording of these fortresses live on Twitch at my Twitch channel, Techud. You'll find that this fortress is quite successful and prolific. However, we were still able to find a few ways to improve it using minor changes that had quite a big impact. Please enjoy. This is the wagon. I just hit F1 because I wanted to go ahead and see what things look like starting at the embark point. And right away, we have a pack of llamas. A whole bunch of llamas. I mean, we got 181 citizens and half as many animals. Tons of goats. Goats are cool. I love goats. Tons of llamas. I mean, that's a wool and milk factory right there, if I've ever seen one. Other than that, we got the typical, cats and pets and whatnot. The animal situation in this fortress is quite nice. It looks like everything's been tidied up. Lots of good producing animals, particularly goats and lambs. So that's the situation with animals. Very industrious animal industry here at, Boltportals. Very good animal industry. This is the entrance into a hillside, classic dwarven entrance. I'm gonna go up real quick though. I wanna see, okay, there's a trade depot. There's a bunch of goats. So trade depot up here, if we go up one more, oh boy. Okay, well, we have wild boar ivory, all right. So we got giant cave toad stuff, mangled hair, hamster remains, cave spider remains. Okay, so with hamster and cave spider remains here, first of all, what a graveyard. Holy cow. That's okay though. This isn't as bad as it could get. I shouldn't act like I'm that surprised. It just is a graveyard. Well, not even really a graveyard. It's a body pile is what it is. Let's go ahead and take a look. Obviously, this is going to have corpses and refuse. All refuse is allowed. Okay. I could see one thing that might help is perhaps setting refuse to not collect some things like bones and moving those into a production chain that will use them up. Because it's really, really, really easy to do that. In fact, let's see, workshop, craft drawers, workshop. You could build a workshop right here. And you can just have a dwarf immediately begin making bone crafts out of those bones. And that's all it would take. Of course, I would move the bones to a different stockpile that's not outside. And I would do that indoors or something. If you don't want to use the bones for anything like armor crafting, that's one way to get rid of them. Keeps a dwarf busy too. So that's the body mound. Oh, it appears we have a supplementary body mound as well. More crundles. Yeah, so another thing I bet is set. Let's just check up here. Another thing that I bet is set that I would change is, save corpses, dump other. Because other includes vermin corpses, vermin remains. I'd probably dump other, because a lot of this stuff is other. Plus, like, the hair and wool can go, there was some hair in here, that could be spun, I think. Could it be spun? I mean, what kind of hair was it? Draltha? Mangled hair? Oh, let's see. Wool? It doesn't say anything about it. Nope, doesn't say anything about that either. It doesn't say anything about it at all. Okay. So, enough with the body pile. Let's head on down to the entrance here. Let's see what we got. We got a triple entrance. Not 100% sure why, but I bet there's a reason. That's one of those things that usually comes with a reason. Possibly mined a mineral vein or something. And then this doesn't go anywhere. Okay. I mean, it does have a neat mineral vein of native gold. Ooh, native gold. So these stairs here appear to be the way down. Let's take the plunge. Right away, we got a floor with, nothing? This isn't a pile? What is this? This isn't... Was it a farm once? Maybe it was a farm once. What are these? What's going on up here? This is Ast Bumrechthalest's partial skeleton underwater. Yeah. I guess I'm really not familiar with this tile set. I suppose that this blue is water indeed. Okay, so we got a few drowned dwarves, and I'm gonna trust that they have been memorialized. Okay, we come down another level. I like the staircase, that central staircase. I love central staircases. Whoa, there's a lot going on. Wow. We're gonna head back on up here, start from the top. We have what looks to be burial. Yep, coffins here. What do we have here? We have a craft dwarf's workshop, another crafts dwarf's workshop, another crafts dwarf's workshop, another crafts dwarf's workshop, and another crafts dwarf's workshop. This is a bit confusing. What, there's nothing else. There's nothing else here. Oh, there's another workshop. A glass furnace, of all things. What is this? Some sort of ancient crafting room of some sort? Okay. We'll go down one more level. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we got some dwarven life happening, some bustling life around. We got sculptures. Okay, here we go. So we've got a tavern. This is a tavern. Okay. Interesting choice, a tavern without tables or chairs. The old school RimWorld player in me would be unable to sleep at night. Kind of weird. I'd make that a statue garden or something. Isn't that another? Couldn't you also make statue gardens available to the general public? Yeah, you know, it might very well be. It must be a statue garden because it is a statue that it is assigned from. So of course it's a statue garden. I don't know what I'm talking about. But it's also a tavern, which is a little bit, I don't know, eating without a table. All right, so this here is a stockpile. Stockpile number 27. And inside of it goes, actually kind of exactly what I would make a stockpile, like a catch-all stockpile. This is cool. I like this. This is actually really well set up. I mean, the food looks a little bit broad, like storing meat and fish with unprepared food and plants. Oh, and the fact that prepared food was in there too, on top of ingredients, makes me wonder what the tavern, the actual tavern where they eat kind of situation is like. Yeah, this very well is most likely the actual tavern. So we got a big catch-all stockpile up there. So what is this one then? We got another catch-all stockpile. Looks like the same settings as before. That's a lot of stuff. And I think these are all barrels. Meat barrels and fish barrels. And what is going on with the meat and the fish stocks in this joint? Holy crap. All right, so we got like a bajillion. That's a lot of cat meat. That worries me. I'm gonna be completely honest here. Power Chao, why you got so much cat meat, bro? Is there something, is there like a room in this fortress I'm not supposed to find? Because this is a little excessive. But anyway, we also have hundreds of brook lampreys. This is just a meatopia. Not a vegan fortress, that's for sure. Ooh, excellent stock of like flowers. Okay, I can see obviously we had lots of goats in the animal industry, so it makes sense why there'd be lots of goat products. The only thing that worries me is the cats. Also, I think your fisher could probably take a break. I think you can retire that guy forever. As for whoa, that's a lot of plump helmets. I mean, I know people are gonna watch this and be like, well, I got like 20,000 plump helmets, and it's like, yeah, but this is already, you just have way too many. This is a lot of plump helmets, especially since we have 516 cave wheat ready to be milled and or brewed. Sweet pods, fantastic. Yeah, okay. And drinks, honestly, you know what? I'm really surprised to see this. It's not like desperately low. It's not perilously low, but this is a small number of drinks considering the food situation here. I would definitely separate this out. The fish and the meat here, since there's such a strong fish and meat industry, I think deserves its own place in this fortress. I'm gonna keep forgetting the name of it. Boltportals needs its own butchery and meat kitchen where that stuff can be stored and processed in a rapid manner. So anyway, moving on. There's not a zone here. However, I suspect that one of these tables, here it is designated as a tavern. The Peach of Ropes, the same tavern is here. I've never done that before, where I have multiple locations with the same tavern assigned. We have rooms. These gold tables. Whoa. I mean, I did see that gold up by the surface. I can imagine it was going to be used for something. There must be more gold bedrooms below, because if these were in my fortress, these would be the only 8, and only the best crafts dwarfs would be sleeping in them. Rooms for the inn. Yeah, I suppose if they do use them, I always make the tavern one place, and I've never even thought about that. Like having a tavern and then having a separate bedroom and having that also be part of that same location as the inn. Oh yeah, I'm not sure. Well, there are containers here. These are chests. If we take a look here, perhaps... Oh, well, it's not. They're empty. They are empty because it's not part of the tavern. So this is designated by table, correct? Yeah, so this is another, I think this is another example of this fort having become... Oh, wait. Oh, man. Power Chao, you're smarter than I am. See this up here? What I was just saying that I never do and that I didn't realize you could is exactly what he's done. This bedroom is part of the Peach of Ropes. It is part of the tavern. And I've never even thought about that. Like having a tavern and then having a separate bedroom complex and having that also be part of that same location as the inn. So let's dive one more level deep. Okay, so we got what looks like a dormitory up there. But let's see. I would designate it from the center bed. But apparently... Whoa. Is this just a stash of beds? Okay, so these are the offices here. We got noble offices, bookkeeper, cool. I like these offices too. And these, I assume, are more a bedroom for captain of the guard. So we have what appears to be a meeting area with no location. Perhaps that was the originally set up one. Because sometimes I'll do that where I'll set up a location for a meeting area early on, but I don't want a tavern or anything. I just want the meeting area for my dwarves so they're not outside. But none of these are made into a dining room. Here's a food stockpile. That's very nice. I like that the food stockpile is in here. What's in it? So we got drinks. Not prepared food though. I imagine if I were building this fort, I would probably make this the primary tavern, and I would put the drinks in here as well. Or keep the tavern upstairs too, whatever, because clearly this feeds that tavern. Maybe it was just a mistake that this wasn't assigned to the same location. I wonder where the kitchen is. It's probably down these stairs, I guess. So here we have the Lutes of Music. The Lutes of Music is a guild hall for the Company of Bells. So then we also have the Umber Iron and the Silver of Steel, which I imagine is probably metalworking and smithing or something. Stoneworkers, and then metalsmithing. Okay, cool. So these are probably all guild halls. I really like these. They're like, they look just like classrooms to me. And this one up here has some stuff in it. It has bookcases in it. Okay, so let's see if there's kitchens on the next floor down. Oh, there is not. There are bedrooms. There are lots of bedrooms here. This is what I always forget to do in my forts. I count
12, 48, 96, times 2 is 192, plus the stairs here, 46, that's 24, times 2 is 48, that's 92, plus 48, 230.
240 bedrooms on this level alone. Okay, so that's enough bedrooms. What is one level further? Oh boy, this looks like crafts work to me. We got a lot of the same workshop over here. So we got a lot of looms. Dyeing as well. Nice. Nice. This stockpile here is for hair and wool. Oh, here's a hair and wool stockpile. I might have missed a link. So we have a hair and wool stockpile here. And this stockpile is number 16. So if we go back up to the surface... Yeah, we are giving to those stockpiles. Okay, so this is set up for that. All right, cool. Cool, that's fine. That makes sense. I wonder how so many things got killed way faster than the things got used up, but still, that makes sense. It is curious why the dwarves aren't moving the hair or wool here. It's clearly being taken from. We got refuse, we got hair and wool, and all of the available species are listed under it. We have the link, and it does contain refuse, hair and wool, and all available species. And the items in it are not forbidden. Well, we're gonna let this fortress run for a little bit later on, so we'll see then. So here we are, we got the loom and the dyeing shop set up. That's cool. I wonder, where are the looms giving to? This is giving to a loom. Oh, maybe that's why these don't have the automatic, because they're being given to. If I control N and I do temp name here, yes. So they're giving to this, and that's causing them to no longer be able to collect webs, I think. And we have dyeing here, but not, this doesn't contain the stuff to be dyed. This only contains the refuse. Down below, perhaps? Oh, that's confusing. There's another level of dyer shops below those dyers shops? Sure. So these look like farms. It looks like they're dug down one. Yep. To be flooded, I bet. And then we got querns up here for milling. That's where all that flour was coming from. I really like that developed food industry. Gordon Ramsay approves of this fort. We got milk, animals. I bet you this is animals down here. Well, no. All the animals were outside. There is, in fact, an effort to turn this into, I assume, a pasture. It's a pit and pond. If it's only one zone, it will only be used by one dwarf at a time. So what you'll actually want to do is come up here and make a whole bunch of them. I think I read this recently in the wiki that no matter how large a pit or pond is, one zone gets one task at a time. So we're milking animals, we're spinning thread, we're doing all that good stuff. We're also tanning hides. I bet you the butcher shop is nearby. Yep, there it is, butcher animal. Yeah, I really feel like this is a little bit disconnected. So we got the butcher shop down here, right? Which makes sense with the tanneries. But it doesn't make a lot of sense with the kitchen. The meat production is happening down here and getting stored upstairs. Well, where is the kitchen? Jeweler's workshop. Another jeweler's workshop. Lots of duplicate workshops. Let's see. We got mason's workshops. More mason's workshops. This is nice. I usually duplicate my mason's workshop at least once because I want there to be one for just blocks and one for the good stuff like furniture. These are just a couple of craftsdwarf's workshops, probably for making stone goods. Anyway, here's the stills. So that's the booze production. And this is dimple cups. So curious why those are there. In any case, where is the barrel stockpile? Is that also what this is meant to be? Yes. So this is meant to be a barrel stockpile. So this is just a big booze production room. I'm not sure why dimple cups are getting stored here and all plants under that category, but also there's no reserved barrels. Yeah, that's a thing that you might want to do. Oh yeah, for my own sake, I always name all of my stockpiles, and this isn't why, not because I think someone else is going to look at my fort and try to make a video about it and I want it to be named for them, but just because once it gets to this size, you're like, what was this? What was stockpile number 22 again? But I would absolutely recommend we reserve, honestly, in a fort like this, man, I would just set like 50 barrels, just make an extra 50 and reserve them all. They're going to get moved here to where you want them to be, but they will be available. They will be left empty. So I still don't know where the kitchen is. I might have missed it. We got carpenter's workshops, wood furnaces. That's a lot of wood furnaces. Asheries, soap makers. So we got our wood stockpile has just become sort of a production mega room for all wood related things. This is an excellent fortress. I mean, there's several very well-developed industries. It looks like everything has been given some level of consideration. Pretty much every industry has been developed to some functional point. There isn't like anything missing. Everything's here to some capacity. So this is a jeweler's workshop. Are the cut and uncut gems in the same stockpile? That's fine if they are, honestly. But it does bother me, personally. Because then, how do you know how many of these are cut? How do you know? You have to go into your stocks menu? But you know, like I said, there's absolutely no practical reason for me to complain about that. Pet peeve of mine. I'm gonna go hunting for the kitchens. I need to see a kitchen. All right, let's take. We'll find it. We'll see it. All right, we got more meat and fish barrels. Oh boy, what's this fortress called again? Boltportals. Should have been called beef portals. We've got a lot of silver nuggets and gold nuggets and tetrahedrite, which is silver as well, but mostly copper. Lots of copper being used for bins. That's cool. Those bins holding lots of lead and billin bars. So we got bars and ores just in one giant stockpile, it seems. No, not one giant stockpile. Yes, one giant stockpile? I saw a stockpile 5. There it is. I'm so confused. So it's a mass stockpile here. And there's a little one in here called stockpile 5. I bet you, is that a feeder type? Nope, it's not a feeder type situation. I'm really confused about stockpile 5 here. But regardless, it's still one giant stockpile. And this is a smelter. I really like this smelter setup. I just can't get over how much of a giant square this stockpile is of everything. If it were me, I'd put the smelters somewhere in the middle. Perhaps the smelters in the very center, and I'd put ores as a ring around them and then bars as an outer ring or something, just to make sure that the dwarves are not walking from here all the way over here with a big heavy rock and then making bars and then coming all the way over here to the metalsmith's forge. That's a lot of walking for their little dwarfy feet. Make billin crafts. What's that order look like? Active, one-time order to do 100 billin crafts. Okay. And bronze greaves. That probably has conditions. Nope. A one-time order to make just 2 bronze greaves. All right, well, if you needed them, I guess. But are any of these managed with conditions, I wonder? How about the charcoal one? Yeah, there we go. Now we're talking. Now we got the good stuff. Awesome. Make bronze bars. Is this one? Ooh, that one is also managed well. Very nice. I would ask for more coal just so that if it got low and something else grabbed 1 bar of coal, you wouldn't get cancellation, but that's just a matter of cancellation spam, which you can easily turn off, which has been turned off. No job cancellations. I'm going to turn that on to some for when we let this fort run. I want to see what happens. Okay, so, and over here, it appears we have, is this additional guilds? No, chapels. And the hideous chapel. I'm going to go ahead and press X to doubt. Let's find out how much the hideous chapel is worth. Just a hideous 21,541 dwarf bucks. And what is on the far right here? We have, barracks. And we have the King's Guard trains here. Here we have sleeping quarters for the creative rings, and I bet you this is training for the same. Yes, training. Oh, these are all archery targets. Okay. Let's go ahead, take a look here. Scheduling. Creative rings, 3 months off, middle of the thing. We got ammunition, creative rings, wood bolts for training, metal bolts for combat. Nice. Yeah, that should do it. It looks like they actually have what they need. So it appears we do have a functional archery squad in this fort. That is awesome. All right, so we got, this is the barracks for training the creative rings, but not an archery range. So that's interesting. I guess he wants them to be competent in more ways than just the pew-pew. This is an ammo stockpile. Ammo, that makes sense. Although I personally, I would put a little training stockpile in here with just the wooden bolts. Maybe we have bolts set up here. Where are your bolts at, bruh? Yeah, I don't see it here. I would definitely have a work order to make sure a certain number of bolts exist. I suppose if you make enough of them at a time, you could forget about it, but that's definitely something that benefits from a work order. All right, what else do we got down here? We got another zone. What's this? The hospital. All right, we've entered the hospital. Almost fully stocked. No powder for casts. So I guess one industry that's missing is gypsum powder, and that's fine. Screw it. Honestly, I mean, I don't do that either. They're lucky if I bother with soap in my forts. All right, so that's all for zones. This looks like more barracks down here. What do we got here? We got the barricaded moths. No, the helms of washing. They get trained here, so I bet this is where they sleep. Yes, the helms of washing. I like the military floor. I love that there's a separate barracks for sleeping as there is for training. Also, I can really tell that this is a very organically developed fortress because of the way that the military floor is. The fact that it's not just barracks, 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 barracks down one hallway, or like barracks on either side of one hallway, and you get like, you know, a barracks over here, a much larger archery barracks, you got a couple here. This looks like maybe the first thing to be built, and it looks like this may even be another barracks for archery training. Yeah, except we have a few here that aren't assigned. Only one is assigned. I think you have to assign each of them. Anyway, it really does show that there was an effort to get a military setup, and then there were years without a need for a greater military scheme. And then when more military was needed, it was like, oh, well, we now have to find a space for that. I like when that happens in forts. I try to avoid it myself. I try to avoid it by mapping out everything I'll need ahead of time, but it's always kind of interesting to see how it unfolds. Oh, and let's find the damn kitchen. We got 2 kitchens. They were here the whole time. Oh, there they are. The kitchens. In a stockpile that, if I recall, is more meat and food. Give to stockpile 11. There's a lot of stockpile links happening with the food here, which is great. I love to see stockpile links, but it really makes me wonder what the workflow is like. I didn't even look at this. This is why I missed the kitchen. So we got screw presses here. We got fisheries. So if this gives to stockpile 11, I wonder where that is. Where is stockpile 11? I want to know why the stockpile next to the kitchen is giving up its cooking ingredients to a different stockpile. I must know this. Here we go. Stockpile 11. It's this one. So what's happening here is the food stockpile that's by the kitchens is giving up specifically plants to the brewing stockpile. It is only the ones that he wants to have brewed. So that's good. So that's actually very smart. All right, so are these more beds? Okay, so we just have extra bedrooms for some reason. Are these like particularly skilled dwarves? Like, no, there's no one assigned to that one. Interesting. I really like this fortress all around. I would have definitely used more Z levels in order to achieve a greater amount of premeditated fortress design, because you can tell how this fort had to sprawl out in order to fit what it needs. So, I mean, well, first of all, you could have doubled up the bedroom layer. That would have been nice if you cut off these bedrooms here and then you just put them on the next layer down where these are. You remove a lot of walking. That's just what I would have done. It's not going to break a fortress, basically. It's not going to end your game. So I really like the fort. The only issue I would describe was the lack of reserved barrels, which is probably responsible for the low drinks count. Because immediately I noticed the drinks, 334 drinks. The drinks are a little bit lacking. I think that the food industry is the only thing that could really use a little bit more optimization, I guess. I hate to say optimization because it makes me sound like a min-maxer. Just getting these barrels figured out. Like, this is empty because there's no reserved barrels. There's 4 different food stockpiles that are all giving and taking from each other in different ways. And then there's this body pile up here too, which, whoa, man. there's really nothing you can do about this. You know, sometimes you just need a body pile. What are you going to do? But if you preemptively set up an industry with manager orders to spin things and to store things near the workshops, and you put in large enough orders to keep it going constantly, you can prevent this kind of buildup. But it is not going to prevent it from happening if you, say, have a giant battle. So let's go ahead and let's see if we can't do a little magic here. So I've reserved barrels for this, right? And I want to go ahead and look at my stock of barrels as well. These are our empty barrels. We do have a few empty barrels. Oh yeah, there's plenty of empty barrels. Okay, so there's no lack of barrels here. It's just a lack of reserved barrels. I have it set to 50 right now. Let's check out the kitchen things. I think we could do with more prepared meals here. Let's see what happens. Currently the meals, where is the meals order? Okay, well, let's take a look at the kitchens. No work order. There were only 2 kitchens. There are no work orders to make meals. Yeah, so I guess there were really 2 things in this fort that I found that were desperate for a little improvement. First is the reserved barrels. But then also, we need a lavish meal order. Let's do 20 per month. I mean, that's kind of overkill, but it's fine. So let's go ahead and say that the unrotten cookable items need to be at least, let's just say at least 100. So we're going to delete that condition. And we're going to do this monthly. Okay, and then we're going to make one other change here. We'll get rid of part of this stockpile here and make a new stockpile for just meat and fish and eggs and cheese, because we're apparently making cheese, so we might as well use it in something, right? And that's going to be here now, and have it give to each kitchen. And then I will have all of the other stockpiles give to it. Okay, now, with the new reserved barrels and the new meat and fish order to cook the meat and fish and eggs, we should see the whole food situation in this fortress vastly improve. And we're also just going to see what happens when we hit the unpause button. Oh, I turned back on cancellation because I want to see, we got the can't find path. Is that the thing that's happening? Yeah, that's the thing that's happening. Oh, also, where are my catch-all stockpiles? This is a catch-all stockpile. This is not allowed to store barrels. This also, no barrels. Oh, and why is food in here? Yeah, I think this might be a mistake. I mean, I might be wrong about that, but I think that's a mistake. All right, this is good. So we've already cleared probably a bunch of barrels out of here, I bet. Oh yeah, look at those barrels. I want to just let this fortress play for a little bit. We're going to do, it's like a little test, you know? We made a couple of fixes. We touched up a couple things with some work orders. We put a meal work order in. We reserved some barrels. I suppose I could try to work out the massive pile of refuse above ground. Why are you carrying a barrel from up here to brew? Bruh. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this forever taking. Holy crap. Just carrying that barrel, and now he's going to get a drink. He literally just got tired of carrying this. This is why I'm an obsessive organizer of my stockpiles. That dwarf just spent so much time carrying a barrel to brew a drink that he got tired of it and went upstairs to get a drink for himself. He didn't even finish his job. He just quit. He just quit. That's why we need to have this stockpile give to each of these. And this stockpile give to these. Now, no dwarf will ever again try to carry a barrel so far that they give up on their job before they even start. All right, so now we're talking. Now we got barrels up here. We're gonna check out the drinks in a few minutes here. We're gonna see what they look like now. We found another workflow issue. The Stockpile here has give links, and none of them are to a farmer's workshop. So this llama wool is going to remain unspun. We're going to have this stockpile give to them. And I won't butcher a cat. Yeah, well, I mean, you won't butcher a cat. But you'll see that Power Chao here has no qualms about butchering cats. I'd say the greatest design weakness of this fortress, the weakest part of the way that the fortress flows, is that it's not ahead of its own supplies. It has allowed itself to accrue absurd amounts of things like meat and fish. The metal industry is a good example of that, where there's a lot of ore here that's not going to be touched for a dwarf year or more, several dwarven years. There's a lot of bars here made out of ore that probably didn't get touched for several dwarven years that won't be touched for a dwarven decade. So I think that this fort could use more work orders set up to just wear out stocks, just constantly wear them out. Like the food, just cook everything. Just cook the crap out of it. Leaving materials to accrue like that ends up with a very sprawling fort like this, where you have like 3 stockpiles that are all redundant with each other. That said, the fortress works great. The industries are really fleshed out. I think that's about as much as can be said about this fortress. Overall, I really like it. It's grand. It is a grand fortress. Thoroughly developed industries. It's just a little bit sprawly, and it had a few minor issues and oversights that are mistakes anyone would make in a fort. I make them still myself. Yeah, let's do one final check here. We're gonna go to kitchen. Look at that, now we're talking. We've gotten another 200 drinks. We see that we have 755 prepared meals now. I like it. That was The Fortress of Boltportals by Power Chao. I learned something from this fort. I am going to make locations like inns and taverns span multiple rooms where it makes sense. For example, bedrooms and stuff. Thank you to Power Chao for submitting this fortress. And that was Boltportals. Thank you again to Power Chao for submitting it. If you would like to submit your own fortress, just follow the instructions in the link below. As I begin to develop a format for these videos, hopefully the time it takes to go through one will shrink and I'll be able to fit 2 fortresses per video. That would be quite nice, or at least get one fortress below 30 minutes. We'll see what happens. Whatever does happen, I'll be there, and I'll see you there in the next one.